Hi, welcome to ETF 360. I'm Tom Lydon with ETF Trends and ETF Database, joined by our Director of Research, Dave Nadig. And joining us today is Scott Helfstein, Executive Director of Thematic Investing at ProShares. Great seeing you, Scott.
Thanks for having me on, Tom and Dave.
Thematics have been huge in 2020. Innovation has been what everyone's talking about. Is it an asset class in itself?
I think innovation is a strategic imperative for companies. It is really a do or die. And that translates to developing technology, building technology, using it, and creating new business process. I think trying to characterize it an asset class is almost doing a disservice to how important it is across all businesses. And so to me, I think of more like an arms race. Either companies are being innovative or they're going to be left behind. And we want to find the companies that are innovative, but that oftentimes means getting into the weeds and understanding innovation in different parts of the economy and in different industries.
Well, Scott, you guys just waded into this space. Your title is Thematic Investing. Thematics are huge this year. You've got a new product, ANEW. What's the approach there? Like, how do you actually put some boundaries around what innovation even means? I mean, is it everything? You say it's important for every company, but clearly you're not a Russell 3000 fund.
Absolutely not. So what we focused on are trends that are accelerated by COVID. Quite frankly, the genie is out of the bottle on many of these things. Take working from home. We finished last year with 6% of the population working from home in 2019. In 2020, we saw that number as high as 42%. So a six-fold increase. We're not going to have another six-fold increase. We're not going to have 250% of the population working from home, but we're also probably not going back to what we had before.
So it's not just COVID. This is really just accelerating the trends we already had, right? Because, I mean, you do have some very COVID-specific stocks in here, but this isn't just a pandemic play.
Absolutely not. We're really focused on long-term secular trends that were accelerated by the pandemic. Now, some of these are things that are really relatable. Telehealth, working from home, cloud computing, all things that we've used. But what does that mean for the future? It means a more efficient use of data in healthcare. It means more collaboration tools that people are going to be using and the growth of the cloud, which companies have found is just cheaper and more efficient. And that stretches into even things, by the way, like plant-based protein. And the fact that with beef prices that went up during the pandemic, more people than ever tried alternative means of protein and plant-based protein substitutes.
So what about genomics and biotechnology? It's been a great year for those areas of the market as well.
Just as the vaccine is rolling out, this would be the first time ever that we are seeing a genomic medicine administered at mass scale, where people are getting treated using RNA or DNA genomic technology to teach their body how to do something. This is just the beginning of the genomic revolution that we're seeing this year, but it's been accelerated because normally these vaccines takes years, 3, 4, 5 years to get to market. And now we're seeing it, in less than a year. And ultimately, that's going to accelerate the use of genomics across medicine more broadly.
Scott, you mentioned that you've got sort of these core themes that you're looking at: genomics, telehealth, work from home, plant-based protein, things like that. I know automation robotics is part of this as well. What about the themes we don't know about yet? Like how, I know this isn't an actively managed fund, but how often are those themes going to change? And how often are you assessing which companies belong in which buckets?
Well, we're really focused on how behaviors changed during the pandemic in 4 ways: how people work, how they take care of themselves, how they consume, and how they connect. And so within those, there's roughly in the neighborhood of 20 different themes. And when it comes to work, it's not just cloud, it's things like cybersecurity and digital payments. And in healthcare, it is telehealth, but it's also in genomics. In digital consumer, it's not just things like online retail, but it's gaming, which we see went through the roof. And admittedly, I actually watched Game Awards with my 11-year-old son for the first time last week. So that needs to tell you how life is changing during the pandemic.
Does he humble you with the games that you guys play together?
Absolutely. I cannot manage to beat him at Smash Bros.
Hey, Scott Helfstein with ProShares. Thanks for joining us on ETF 360. Hope to have you back again soon.